Today we have a very special guest joining us today. He's the former Ancient Aliens TV host for Tucson, Arizona, as well as the leading UFO investigator in Phoenix, Arizona. He runs a Facebook Live show called Petroglyphs in the Sky. I would call him the king of the petroglyphs and one of the best UFO hunters in the United States.
Jeff WOOLWINE, the first person to do this.
Please give a nice insertion welcome, Jeff WOOLWINE.
Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back to the Petroglyphs in the Sky UFO show. I am your host, Jeff WOOLWINE. Hey, how you guys doing today, man? Such a great, crazy year this year, hasn't it been? Hope you guys are all staying safe and being careful, and I hope everything's okay. So we got a great show for you tonight. So we're gonna talk about the energy on how these things, where these UFO entities like to hang out the most at, places around the world. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the scientific approach to all this, and we're also gonna talk about how. Is it possible that, the Hohokams and the Mayans and all these other tribes, like the Egyptians and things like that, were they so advanced that they were able to reach the moon? Were they able to reach the stars? What does the rock art say from, anywhere from 900 to 1,000 years ago? So we're going to talk about that also today. So that's going to be an interesting subject. And And so yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so y'all know that I do UFO tours. I will also be at the Vulture City Mine this coming October with Jay and Marie Yates, and they're doing a ghost hunt out there. And a matter of fact, I'll be doing my own like little ghost investigations also. But I'm also going to be doing a Skywatcher, the first time ever at this Vulture City Paracon paranormal event. We'll be talking about UFOs there. We'll be hunting for UFOs. So make sure that you come on out and you come say hi to me, at the Vulture City Mine this coming October. And, make sure you get your tickets early because I'm sure they're going to go fast. So the ghost hunt's going to be October 2nd. And then I'll be there also doing the ghost hunt, with them October 2nd. And then October 3rd, we're going to go out there and we're going to do some UFO watching. So we're going to look for some UFOs out there. So it's going to be fun. So make sure that you get a hold of Jay and Marie Yates here on Facebook and find out where to get your tickets at, hey, make sure that you come out and you say hi to me, and we do, a UFO hunt, and we're going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Lights. We're going to talk about your sightings. So make sure that you come on down, visit with me, and let's sit down. Let's have a chat about these UFOs that we're seeing today. Like to give a shout out to the Cyber Scans of Australia, one of our sponsors. I especially give a shout out to Sean. He was the one that helped me get the domain name out on the internet for my website. The P9 Hot Springs rod.com / at petroglyphsinthesky.com / woo, if that's too big to, type in, Sean has made it to where you can just type in petroglyphsinthesky.net. A lot easier. And from there, you can find out, the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. You can find out the first park ranger on what he actually says about the Phoenix Lights and what the petroglyphs say about the Phoenix Lights. And, you can see some of the tombs. You can see a major tomb that I found out there on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. And a lot more other stuff. You can see some of the UFO sightings, some of the news reports, some of the cable shows I've done. Lots of great information on the Anunnaki, things like that. So it's a great website. And so make sure you check out petroglyphsinthesky.net and check out Cyber Scams of Australia. So if you got, anything, you feel like you're being ripped off or scammed or anything like that, or someone's doing a fraud on you, make sure you get a hold of Cyber Scams of Australia. I know they've helped me out many times before. So go check them out. Also, you want to check out my book from Needley Worldwide Publishing, The Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Landscape for the Spirits, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Now, this talks about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona, and it talks about what the Phoenix Lights really is, according to the HOCOM. It goes into the lost history of Phoenix. The archaeologist does not tell us, everything on the history of the HOCOM. Okay, and for the last 80 years, this information has been buried, has been tucked away in the Phoenix Library in a folder. So through my over 20 years research on the Phoenix Lights and being out on the field out there on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona, investigating the Phoenix Lights, trying to figure out what the hell is going on in our skies, I came across, not only did I match the petroglyphs with these UFOs in the sky, but I also found the lost history of Phoenix that talks about how the Mayans were here in Phoenix and how their gold is still left on South Mountain in these tombs. So yeah, it's stuff that you will not hear in the history books. The archaeologist isn't talking about this, but this is all clearly documented, all right? This is true stuff. This is not hearsay. This is real factual stuff, all right, that I've been out there on South Mountain. You can see the photographs for yourself, all right? And then you can check out what I discovered in the Phoenix Library on what the first park Ranger says about the Phoenix Lights and what the holocoms really are and how the minds were here and everything else. So make sure you go out there and you check out my book and get it on Barnes & Noble. You can get it on eBay. You can get it on my website, petroglyphsinthesky.net. And make sure you get that book, because who knows, the way things are shutting down and everything, you never know if the post office is going to shut down too. So I would hate for you to lose out on this opportunity to find out exactly what the Phoenix Lights is according to the Native Americans here in Phoenix, Arizona. I do ghost hunts too. I do ghost tours also, ghost hunts. Last time I was at the Vulture City Mines, I did this little ghost hunt last year. And then this year, me and my wife went out there to the Queen Mary, and I did a little ghost hunt out there. And we had the ghosts, talking to us and things like that. So I do ghost hunts. I do ghost investigations. I not only, investigate UFOs, but I also do ghost hunts because I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive to these spirits, to these ghosts, if you will, these spirits, these, people in the past. I'm kind of sensitive to that stuff. So I want you to go check out the paranormal electronics. Okay, so I just recently ordered some ghost hunting equipment through them, and I'm excited, to receive it and to try it out. And I'll be using this at the Vulture City Ghost Mine Tour this coming October. And it's going to be great. So make sure you check out the Paranormal Electronics. And they're great people. There's also other things that you can get there on their website, like personalized, clothing and things like that. You can get ghost hunting equipment. So check out the Paranormal Electronics. Okay, you can find them on Facebook. You can find them on the internet also. Give a shout out to them. Thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to that paranormal equipment that I ordered. This is going to be great. I can't wait. I can't wait to show it and test it out and let you guys see it, because it's going to be awesome. It's going to be neat. All right, so let's get into this. So, watching these Phoenix Lights, I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona all my life. As a boy, I was growing up, seeing things in the sky, playing football with my dad, and there would be an orb in the sky. When I'm in the 6th and 7th grade, I'd be seeing these Phoenix Lights, above my house, mostly all the time. And, going to school, you tell your friends about it, And there used to be this little Native American boy that was a good friend of mine back then. And I asked him, I was like, dude, did you see that light last night? Wasn't that cool? And he goes, yeah. My grandfather says that he saw these lights actually, live in the mountains, over there. And he points to the west side of Phoenix, Arizona, to the White Tank Mountains. He says, my grandfather knows that these, lights, these UFOs live in those mountains over there. Being a kid, you're just like, wow, it's pretty neat. You go on to your everyday business, blah, blah, blah. You forget about it. But years later, when you're still continuing to see these UFOs in the sky, and you just want to find out, exactly what is going on, because you're seeing them everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, there they are. So this is what brought me here today to talk to you guys about what I discovered through my whole life. I've been doing this my whole life. And, it brought me up to my book. It brought me up to doing the UFO Hunter show, to doing the pilot for the show, to writing an article for UFO Magazine, on and on and on. Cable shows. Matter of fact, a new cable show is coming up. And I just gave them permission to use some of my stuff and some of their shows. So look for some of my UFO sightings in an up and coming UFO cable show. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag just quite yet, but it's in the making. It's already done deal. So that's going to be neat. So I've followed these things. I've watched these things, all my life, and I didn't really start filming them until 2004. And, I was filming the lights on the east side. I did the news, and, they were telling us we're seeing flares. That's crazy. These are not flares. These are right here in the Valley of the Sun. And then 2005, I moved to the mountain. And, I got a hold of a Native American who I saw on Channel 8 here in Phoenix. And he's talking about the petroglyphs up there on South Mountain, And he was saying, these stick figure mans are looking up at something in the sky, and he's like, that's some of the interpretations here, is that our ancestors saw these things in the sky and recorded them in certain places, on the mountain. And so bang, that was it. That was the whole thing that got this petroglyphs in the sky motion going. Was what I saw on television and mountains. Investigating these things, I noticed that these things like mountains. All right. And so, I asked the Native American from a Pueblo Indian Art Museum, his name was Dave, to do a hike up on South Mountain, to explain the petroglyphs to me. So he spent hours up there, and he taught me about the spirals and the doorways and the giants and the lizard people and, the spirits of the earth and the sky. I mean, he was the one that taught me all of this stuff. And I just ran from there. I took it from there. I grabbed the football and I ran with it. And I sat there on South Mountain, about a mile away from South Mountain, for 3 years. And I watched these things come and go, and I learned about the doorways. I learned about the spirals, and I learned about what was going on here, and, when he was telling me, well, the spirals, sometimes it'll end in a crack, for instance, here's a spiral here. So we see that spiral there, okay? So it's ending down in that crack. You see that crack right there? Now that's the doorway, all right? That is the emergence point for the natives to the underworld, okay? That's what they say, that this is the emergence point to the underworld. And he was telling me that, the spirals going clockwise is a doorway in, and the spiral going counterclockwise is a doorway out. Okay, and the spiral ends down, then it's probably this crack as we're looking at this glyph here. Probably that crack right there is the door, or it could be the ground there on the bottom. That is the emergence point. If the spiral ends up, then there's a doorway in the sky. There's a vortex in the sky. Okay, that's where these Phoenix lights and these entities, these UFOs, just magically appear in the sky. And that is basically, what is going on here. Now, going into this, investigating the Phoenix lights, I didn't find any evidence. I've been doing this for over 20 years, okay? I haven't found any evidence, any proof of anything going over the city. What I did find was these lights on the west side of Phoenix, okay? So a handful of people filmed these lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. And one of them was Tom King, because he was videotaping these lights, days and weeks before. So he was ready for it. So if anything was going to go across the city, Tom King, he would have jumped on it. He would have filmed it. All right. But the only thing that was really seen that night that we can verify, because I go on proof, I go what I can prove. I don't go on hearsay. I go what we can prove. And what we can prove are the videos of the Phoenix lights on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. And so, I'm going into this thinking, oh, it's a spaceship, it's a craft, little gray guys running around. I did a complete 180. All right. When I first discovered that these things were not a craft, that this was like another type of entity race. Okay. So yeah, I have seen things in the sky that could resemble a craft. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I believe that it's possible. I mean, why not? I get it. The scientists have found 7 Earth-like planets outside of our solar system. Okay. So what is the possibilities that there's intelligent creature life, there that has built technologies, crafts, and has visited Earth? Sure. Why not? I'm open to that. All right. I haven't seen any proof videos of crafts. I see CGI stuff. I see people filming lights and assuming that they're crafts, that they're spaceships. But what I'm coming out and saying, and I've always said this, and when I first discovered it in 2005, that these lights, these entities are not crafts. They're not spaceships. They're not little gray guys running around. Okay. There could be. We haven't found any proof evidence of this. We have hearsay, we have CGI videos, but we have no credible evidence of anything to do with that. What we do find is credible evidence and not CGI stuff is lights and flying snakes and orbs and things like this and flying diamonds and all this weird stuff, right? That the public, hasn't considered this yet, but this is what we're clearly dealing with. Okay, so when you see 5 lights out there, it's not a spaceship. It's not a craft, all right? Each light is the living entity, is the being itself, all right? And, the rock art depicts this, okay? So some of this rock art is showing that, there's like, some people call them a lizard man, all right? Now, within this lizard man, because he has a tail, he's a stick figure looking man. He's got a tail, all right? But he's got this circular belly, okay? That circular belly is the orb, is the Phoenix light, is the lights that we're seeing in the skies today. And what they are doing, what the Native Americans are telling us, what the petroglyphs are depicting, is these things are morphing. They're shape-shifting into the likeness of a man or into the likeness of a serpent, Quetzalcoatl, or into the likeness of, a lizard or something like that. Okay, so the orb in the belly is the orb that we're seeing in the skies today. So when the Native American shaman is telling me, well, that doorway, that crack there, that's the emergence point, to the underworld. I'm thinking, dude, how can, because I'm still thinking crafts at this time. I'm thinking, well, how can this big, huge craft, technology spaceship get into a little crack like this, Until I witnessed it, until I realized that it wasn't spaceships that we're dealing with here. These are like living entities. They're living beings. Okay. Just as man is higher than the animals, right? We're more intelligent. We can do more things, than the animals. These things are higher than man. They can do more things. And some people would even call them like kind of supernatural. All right. So they're a supernatural, animal, I guess you could call them, or creatures, some kind of race, some kind of entity, they're living lights. They know who's watching them and who's not. Okay. And because people see these lights and they see these orbs in the sky and they see these long tubular things and these other weird looking things, they mistake them for balloons, or they mistake them for flares, or fireworks, or some, man-made, conclusion, because that is what they were brought up to learn. All right. Is spaceships, technology, little gray guys running around. All right. They haven't really studied the petroglyphs. They haven't really understood what history says about these things. And it doesn't describe a craft. Okay. In no way, shape, or form, all these petroglyphs, not only in Phoenix, Arizona, or around the world, that are legit, that are true, not carved by somebody else, with an engraver. But what we can really verify is from 500 to 1,000 years old does not depict any flying saucers, any crafts at all. It talks about these living entities, flying worms, flying diamonds, flying orbs, okay, flying, if you want to call this, swastikas, because Hitler didn't, Hitler stole that from the Indians, man. So the swastika isn't a bad thing. It didn't start off to be a bad thing. It was actually seen in the sky. Now, I've seen many swastikas out there on South Mountain, and they're flying in the sky. Dogs are looking up at flying swastikas. People are looking up at flying swastikas. So it's not a type of symbol, of hate, the way Hitler, portrayed it as. He kind of took that over. But it was actually seen in the sky. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. The feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl, okay, in Mexico. Man, I filmed that thing out here in Phoenix, Arizona many times. My wife and I was out there on South Mountain a couple years ago, and first we saw this light just appear in the sky. And out come forth that light was a black serpent, a serpent, okay? He looked just like Quetzalcoatl, some of the art that we see in Mexico today, the flying serpent. From there, he morphed. The archaeologist likes to call them anthropomorphs. He changed into what looked like a man, a stick figure petroglyph man. He had his hand on his waist. He had this head. He had two looked like horns coming out of his head. He had a long stick body. This was a petroglyph in the sky, man, and you can see that on my website. And so, I was the first one to bring this to the attention in the UFO community in 2005 here in the United States. I was the first one to document these petroglyphs connected to the Phoenix Lights. I even found the Phoenix Lights spread petroglyph that was carved anywhere from 900 to over 1,000 years ago. They saw the Phoenix Lights, the exact same, round object or round formation on the west side of Phoenix, Arizona. Arc, if you will, not a V shape, but an arc. I mean, I found that petroglyph. It's on the front cover of my book, and so they were the first ones to record these Phoenix Lights in Phoenix, Arizona. And so they're not talking about spaceships. They're talking about living beings. They're talking about their gods at the time. Because I found many altars out there on South Mountain, and these Hohokam Indians actually worship these things as gods. Much as the Mayans did in Mexico, worship their beings as gods. Same stuff here. The Mayans were here along with the Hohokams also. So that's a completely different subject, completely different story. You can find that in my book. We won't get into that because we don't have a lot of time tonight. But I was the first one to bring this to the UFO community. When I wrote the article in the UFO magazine in 2005, I talked about these entities. I didn't say crafts. I said, look, these are living beings, man. I did the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show, and then later on, when the UFO Hunter Show finally aired on the History Channel in 2007, that's when I did the show on the History Channel. And they were telling me, Jeff, you are filming some bizarre stuff. He's like, the public is not ready for this type of information. They told me, if you're going to talk about these things, you need to say crafts. You need to say spaceships. You need to say flying saucers. He says the public isn't ready for this type of information. And when they aired the show, they were saying, oh, it's Jeff's theory. Well, no one has ever done this before. The first person ever bringing this to, any community, first person doing anything, the public is going to say, oh, well, the critics are here, because, that always happens, and that's exactly what happened to me, but I stuck with it. I stuck with my guns. I knew I was right. I knew what I discovered. I knew that this was all correct. And, it's been, 20 years now? I mean, I'm still here doing this stuff, and I'm still saying the exact same stuff because this is what I discovered. This is what I found. All right. So if I found one direction where it's telling me crafts, I go with that direction. But I'm doing a 180, and now it's telling me it's leading me on another path here. It's taking me down a journey in a situation where I cannot deny the evidence. All right, I cannot deny the facts. And the facts say that what we're dealing here with are living entities, living beings. Here's a secret. A lot of people think that they're from another planet, all right? But in my investigations, the way this journey is taking me all these years, where the facts, where the credible evidence is leading me, it's leading me down a pathway that's telling me that these things live here among us and have always been here. This is their planet also. This is their world also. In some of these ancient scrolls, the Babylonian scrolls, it says that some left and some stayed behind. Okay, and I believe that the ones that stay behind are the ones that we're dealing with now. You can't deny the evidence. You cannot deny what's carved on the rocks. You can't deny what's written in text anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 years ago when it talks about what we see in the skies today. But a lot of people don't want to look at that. A lot of people just, especially when it comes to the Bible and these biblical scrolls and things like that, and then they'll come back at you and say, oh, dude, you're throwing religion at me. No, man, let's get religion out of that book, and let's look at this book as a type of history book. And when you do that, all right, when you read it for as it's, telling us, it tells you what these things are. Okay, it's telling us what these things are. I find it fascinating that we can read these biblical scrolls, we can read these Anunnaki scrolls, okay, and then we can go up on the petroglyphs. We can go up on the rocks, up on the mountains, on these sacred mountains, and we can actually see the prehistoric photographs of what the biblical scrolls and the Anunnaki scrolls and the Sumerian texts are telling us. It all adds up. This is the road. This is the pathway that this information is taking me. It's taking me down this road. It's not taking me down this road. It's taking me down this road. And I'm telling you, this is where the evidence is. This is where this is where the incredible evidence is. No crafts here. No crafts, but living entities. So let's move on. In my investigations, I'm okay. So, these things like mountains, Moses, was called on a mountain and the light took him away, and in the book of Numbers and the book of Exodus, it tells us that they followed this thing basically in the sky for 40 years. All right. So when this thing stopped in the sky, so did the guys in the tents, and they followed this thing for 40 years. And sometimes that thing in the sky wouldn't move for a whole year. And so it was all about mountains. Mountains is the source. All right. The Indians go up on the mountains to talk to the spirits of the earth and sky, to talk to these spirits. They've always said that. These things are shapeshifters, right? They've always said that. Okay. So mountains were the key. And this was the reason why I decided to go to South Mountain. Not only were these lights that I was filming on the east side of 2004, on the east side of South Mountain, and then again, in 1997, when the March 13th spread happened on the west side of the mountain, but I was filming them on the east side. So I moved to the east side in 2005, and I watched these things come and go. All right. So that was the source. I basically followed the Phoenix lights. The Phoenix lights showed me this mountain. And from there, it all was downhill. It all came into the picture here, on what these Phoenix lights really is. It's not hearsay. It's not somebody saying with a camera in their face, oh, I saw a spaceship with windows and guys waving to me. No, dude, this is what the petroglyphs say. This is what I have been on the mountains. This is what the Indians say. All right. This is what the first park ranger of Phoenix, Arizona says. This is what the information in the Phoenix library says about these Phoenix lights. Okay. And it has everything to do with mountains. Okay. So they're attracted to these mountains. Why? Okay. Now, the Indians tell us that it's going into the underworld, all right? So when we study this, and they come, another thing that I learned also is they come on the equinox and the solstice. I mean, they follow, it's a pattern here, all right? And, the whole comms, they did the light and shadow markers out there on South Mountain. You can find this in my book also, and it talks about the equinox and the summer solstice shadows and things like that, and how the shadows go up in between the spirals into the cracks and things like that. So the archaeologist wants us to believe, well, this is the time to plant corn. Okay, no, it has nothing to do with planting corn. Okay, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with these beings in the sky, these entities that we see in the sky. Okay, for instance, the first year I was watching these things come and go from South Mountain, January, February, March, April, May, June, and July. That was like the hot times, man. They were there. And then after the equinox or after the solstice, they were kind of gone. Okay, so they were following the sun. And what for? What brought this to the mountain? Well, South Mountain was created by a volcano. It was created by the fault lines. There's a major fault line on the underneath South Mountain that created this mountain. Not only this mountain, but most of the mountains around Phoenix, all right, it's sitting on some fault lines there, especially like in California. We got major fault lines out there. There's a lot of UFO activity out there in California. So wherever energy sources are at, that's the key on where these beings will be at. Okay, and they follow the sun. They follow the seasons. All right, so when the sun gets in the right position of these fault lines during the seasons, it opens up these doorways. Okay, it attracts these entities. It's like a type of energy, a type of fusion effect. All right, and it opens up these doorways. All right, and it attracts these entities to the fault lines. All right. For the underworld, to the underworld. The Native Americans, the ancient ones say that these beings, the Mayans say, there's a pathway to the underworld. In a scientific way, this is the fault lines, okay? This is the energy sources where these things are coming and going from and which these things are gathered at. I was the first one to discover this. And then, I just saw a thing on Skinwalker Ranch. Okay, and they were conducting a test. Okay, first season, episode 4. They proved what I've been saying all these years, ever since 2005 when I first discovered this. All right, because it's an energy. They're absorbing the energy. They are attracted to the natural energies around the earth. Okay, so the Skinwalker Ranch, they're launching rockets, right? All right, first season, episode 4. Make sure you check it out. All right, so they're launching rockets into the sky with these sensors, and they're collecting data to capture like the energy sources above the ground. Okay, as they're doing this, there was a light appeared in the sky. Okay, right at the time when these rockets are going up, collecting the energy. And it turns out when that light was up there in the sky, there was a lot of energy building up. All right. So, unfortunately, they think, it's a spaceship. They think it's a craft. They don't understand it yet that, this is a living being here. I mean, look at the fireflies. All right. Look at the lightning bugs. They light up. Okay. That's what these things do. This is part of them. Okay. And especially when they're absorbing energy. All right, they're lighting up. They're absorbing that energy. They're gassing up, man. They're feeding off that energy, and they're glowing, man. They're glowing. They're sparkling. All right, that's the reason why we're seeing the lights up there. A lot of people are saying, well, why do these crafts have lights in them? Do they need to see where they're going? No, dude, has nothing to do with that. It's the energy that they are absorbing, which causes these things to light up. This is my opinion. All right, this just like with the fireflies. The fireflies is a natural light. They light up. So do these things. These things light up. It's not a spaceship with lights, but this is just how they are. So they're saying, oh, well, there's a lot of energy now. They're thinking, they haven't made it up here yet, but they're thinking that because that UFO light was in the sky that it was producing this energy. Well, no, that's not it at all. That light is there for the energy. So Skinwalker Ranch apparently has a lot of UFO sightings there. I've only seen one there that I can actually verify. Maybe there's more. I need to investigate them a little bit more because most of these shows, you don't know if it's real or not. You don't know if it's, it's staged or not, so you really have to be really careful on some of these cable shows on what they're telling you the truth and what they're not telling you the truth. Like some of these ancient alien TV series, you really got to, use your brain here. Is this credible? Because a lot of stuff, you just... So anyway, back on the subject. So, they're thinking that this thing created this energy, but it's not, man. So if Skinwalker Ranch is seeing a lot of UFOs, that means there's an energy there. There's a fault line there. Okay? And so you want to check it out. They proved it. They proved what I've been saying all these years. Ever since 2005, that these UFOs, these entities, these Phoenix lights are attracted during the seasons, okay? During the times of the seasons, all right? So it's not an everyday thing, all right? So like in Phoenix, Arizona, we'll see a bunch of UFOs, and then after the equinox, the UFOs are gone, but they're over there now. They're over there in Florida, or they're over there in Iraq. They're over there in Jerusalem. They're over there in Russia, right? And then after the solstice or after the equinox, they're following the sun. They're following the earth, okay, around where the sun positions along these energy spots. Okay, so here's a good example of what I'm talking about here. Okay, so let's examine this photograph here. This is probably the best way I can describe this. Okay, so here we have from the top, all right, we have the vortex, all right, which is the spiral that we see today that's carved. So that spiral there is the vortex, okay, and it's going down into the fault lines, the fusion of electrons. You see that? This is the perfect example on what's going on here. All right, is these things, it's a vortex. They're going into the vortex. They're going down into the fault lines. They're picking up that electrons. Okay, they're going down to the waves of energy, man. That's exactly what is going on today. This is why these entities like hanging around these mountains. All right, that is the scientific approach to this. All right, this is what we can prove by the scientists. All right, yes, there's fault lines there, there's energy there. All right, so yeah, it's gonna attract these UFOs. It's gonna attract these entity lights. Okay, not crafts, mind you, but entity beings, entity lights. Okay, and so yeah, so the vortex is spinning. That's what the spiral is talking about, right? And here it's counterclockwise. All right, this spiral over here on the left is counterclockwise, so it's a doorway out. So they're coming and going out, and then you can see over here these squiggly lines over here to the left. That's the worm. That's Quetzalcoatl. You see that? Matter of fact, I filmed that Easter Sunday. All right, you look on my UFO sightings. That worm, that U-looking thing, I filmed that Easter Sunday, I believe. I can't believe what year it was, but you can see it on my YouTube channel. So it's like a worm coming out of the vortex, coming out from the underworld, coming out from the energy produced by these fault lines. This is the best explanation that I can, show. This is the best diagram on what's going on here. This is the scientific approach to it. All right, so the Native Americans say, well, the spirits of the earth and the sky, they're going into the underworld. All right, to them, they're going to the underworld. In a scientific approach, it's the fault lines, man. It's the energy, okay? And they're following the sun as the earth orbits around the sun. All right, as the sun changes its movement in the skies, as it aligns with some of these energies around the earth. All right, it opens up these fusion effect. It opens up these doorways. Okay, when the sun gets in the right position of these energy spots, it attracts these UFO entities. It attracts these lights. So that's it. That's exactly what is going on here. And the Skinwalker Ranch, they proved it, man. It was great that they launched those rockets with the energy sensors in them, and so lo and behold, there's a legit UFO light up there, all right? And it just proved what I've been saying all these years. So make sure you go out there and you check out Skinwalker Ranch, Season 1, Episode 4, okay? And there you can see exactly what I've been talking about. Okay, so let's take a short break, and then we'll get into did these people actually reach the moon before man? Okay, so let's take a short break, and then we'll talk about that.
You are watching the Petroglyphsinthesky Ultimate UFO Show. Follow Jeff WOOLWINE as he explores Native American rock art that shows UFOs has visited Earth long ago. Check out the Petroglyphsinthesky Show. Have you picked up your Phoenix Lights Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1? Learn about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. Learn about the petroglyphs carved on a sacred mountain, now known as South Mountain, that holds the path to the Phoenix Lights and the UFOs over Phoenix. Pick up your copy today. Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Find it on eBay, Barnes & Noble, and any source where books are available at.
March 13, 1997, strange orange lights in the sky were reported throughout the state. All new at 6:30, CBS 5 News reporter Greg Mocker found people have been watching the skies for centuries.
Okay, the lights came on for thousands to see.
It is an appropriate name when you really look at the history of the area and also the significance of the phoenix bird and so forth. It's really raising consciousness.
Dr. Lynn wrote the book and the documentary. She still can't say what they are, but many people have been watching and considering the possibility in these 9 years.
The people that dealt with these things before made a record of this, and now it's our turn. It's our generation. These things are back in our time, so I think it's time for us to take a second look at these petroglyphs.
At his website, Petroglyphs Over Phoenix, you can compare Jeff Woolwine's video and the rock drawings, the petroglyphs on South Mountain. There's the crooked snake. Here's his video. He took this picture of an image he says is on the rock. There are a few others. He will mark the anniversary of the lights by looking up.
They do follow the seasons. They follow the seasons and they track the sun. To answer your question, what I plan on doing with all this, I want the public to be informed on what's going on and to show what they're missing.
There is evidence in caves in Pakistan, drawings, 1800s, in the Middle Ages. There are many paintings with the same objects in the skies. Where did the people of the times come up with that, if not something that they had really seen?
3 new sightings are...
Okay, so let's talk about, let's look at this. Let's check this out. So, did man really reach the moon? Okay, so there's before us, before, this, the Apollos and things like that, Let's look at some of this rock art. Okay, let's examine this stuff here. All right, so this right here is a carving out there in Mexico. Okay, it's one of the Mayan carvings. Okay, so a lot of people are trying to say, well, the ancient aliens, the aliens came down, and that's what they're showing, is these astronauts and these aliens, and they're able to they're flying around in these ships. Well, what if, these entities, because this is what these scrolls teach us, okay? Not what the ancient aliens want you to believe, but what the scrolls actually talk about, all right? Now, these scrolls say that these beings, these entities, they taught these people back in the day the secret knowledge, the secret ways in which mankind was not meant to know about. Okay, they were not meant to learn a lot of the Earth's secrets, a lot of the universe secrets. But yet these entities taught these beings, or these entities taught these people secret ways, secret knowledges. How the earth, moves around the sun. How to reach the heavens. Okay, so when we look at this, this rock art here, this sculpture, clearly it's a helmet. It's a serpent helmet. But is that an alien inside that? No, that is not an alien. This is clearly a man. That is a man. All right. That is a man in a helmet. So why would the ancients be, making, sculpting a man instead of a bug-eyed alien? What is the reason for that? because it wasn't some alien. It was mankind. It was mankind that reached the heavens. And we can learn about this through these sculptures, through these rock art. Okay, look at that. Is that an alien inside a space helmet? No, that is clearly a man. It is a man in an oxygen mask. Okay, and just like what we see, you know, a little bit more design to it, you know, but it's a helmet, man. It's a helmet. Okay. We have to look at what we can. We have to look at the evidence here and what we can prove. You know, theories don't go far. All right, theories is only a theory. You know, it's only, you know, horseshoes and hand grenades and things like that, right? You know, you can't prove hearsay. All right, what we can prove, what we can document, is what the ancient ones left us behind to investigate. All right. So I'm an amateur archaeologist. You know, I can spot something out of place a mile away. All right, I've been studying archaeology for years now, way before I started investigating the Phoenix Lights and the petroglyphs and things like that. I'm a major historian buff. I love history. I love archaeology, and I've been studying it all these years. All right, that's how I was able to discover the tombs out there on South Mountain, in which, you know, the first park ranger in the 30s, you know, backs me up on this. You know, he verified all of this, you know, that there are tombs on South Mountain. So I go with what we can prove. I go with what the direction leads us to. And the direction that this is leading me to is all these sculptures that we see, not of aliens from another world, but mankind. Mankind was able to reach the heavens. Mankind was able to reach the moon. All right. This is what the rock art depicts. This is what the sculptures are telling us. All right. It's clearly telling us that man was able to reach the heavens. Look at this. Look at this sculpture here. Why would an astronaut of our day be sculptured on the side of a castle, you know, hundreds or even close to thousands of years ago? This makes no sense. Okay, this makes no sense. Why would they be, you know, sculpting things like this? Is that an alien inside that? No, man, it's a man. It's a guy, dude. All right, not some alien, little gray guy running around, man. This is a human being inside this space suit, dude. Okay? So, my friend James McCoy, all right, I went to high school with this guy, all right? He asked me a question. James McCoy, he was asking me a question. He goes, so, what do you think about the moon? Is the moon hollow? And is there alien bases up there? You know, which is a good question. And I'm going to answer his question today. Here's what I take about the moon and if the moon's hollow and it's and if the moon is actually like a type of Death Star, you know, space station up there. But let's talk about James real quick. So James is a great friend of mine. I went to school with him, and he's got a band. He's got a band called the Noble McCoys. Okay, so you guys want to check him out, right? Check out his Facebook page. You know, James McCoy of the McCoy band, the Noble McCoy band, excuse me. And so yeah, they're a great band. You want to check them out. And you know, he's a great guitar player. The singer's really good. And the guy on the flute, man, the other guy there on to the left, that guy, man, he rocks on the flute. So you guys want to check this out. So I want to give a shout out to James and say hi to him and say, hey, man, keep rocking and rolling because you guys rock. And thank you so much for this question. So let's get into it. Let's get into this question. Okay, so is the moon hollow? Is it a type of structure up there? And what does the art tell us? What does this rock art depict? Okay, so Here is a sarcophagus over here on the right. I'm sure everyone is familiar with this. All right. So this is a lid of a sarcophagus in Mexico, in a Mayan tomb, and it's a pyramid of the moon. It is the moon. Okay. It is the moon carving, or the moon pyramid, where this sarcophagus lies on, and this is the lid of it. Okay, and clearly, what does it show here? What does it show? Does it show a spaceman? Does it show, an alien? No. What does that look like to you? Let's examine this here. That is a man in a craft, and he's going up into the heavens. You see that? That's not an alien. This is man. Now, why would the Mayans be, carving this, and especially on a pyramid, all right, that's named the Moon Pyramid, all right? So why is this guy, in a spaceship going to the moon? Right? This is what we can prove. This is what's credible, not hearsay. Not little gray guys running around, or spacecrafts that we can't prove. This is stuff that we can actually, actually say, look, the people, hundreds and thousands of years ago, are carving this on their caskets, Here's another. Let's look at this. Let's go in depth on this. This is a great little diagram here. Let's see if we can read this here. So this is a diagram, and it's telling us all the stuff. I'm not sure if we'll be able to read this or not. If you can't, then I'll have it on my Facebook page. Yeah, probably not. We'll probably have to blow this thing up way crazy big. Okay, so we're going to blow it up way crazy big. Okay, symbols. Let's start off over here to the right. Symbols for crossing into a new galaxy. Okay, symbols of representing these UFO beings, these entities. Okay? Gods from sky guiding in the spacecraft. Okay? So this guy is in a spacecraft. Clearly, this guy is sitting in a spaceship. All right, so he's got his foot there. All right, is on an accelerator. He's got a breathing mask in his nose. We've got fire coming down from the bottom there. Things like that. All right, so all this is talking about this description. I'll have it later on my Facebook page. Well, we can actually where you can actually look at it a little bit more detail. But clearly, that guy is sitting in a spaceship. Okay? So, another thing that I found that's real credible. Okay, so Apollo 20 went on the backside of the moon. Okay? And they photographed, they not only they videotaped. I saw the video of this, all right, of this spaceship on the backside of the moon. Okay? Was it this guy over here to the right? Is it his spaceship that's there? And the thing of it that makes it more credible, because if this was a hoax or anything like that, I don't believe that the hoaxers would, put the impact craters on it. I don't think that they would go much into that detail. Now look at this. Do you see the art on that? I've seen this video of Apollo 20. All right, I've seen it, and it looks credible. It looks good to me. All right, I don't see anything fake about this. It all looks legit, right? And so there is something up there on the backside of the moon. Here it shows the craters. You see that? So I don't believe that the hoaxers, would make, where the impact marks. Look at the debris there from all the asteroids hitting it over 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Who knows how long this thing has been up there, right? This stuff looks legit to me. Here's the craters. Here's another crater. Look at that. You see that? And you can see the debris there. Okay? So this is from man. Mankind was able to reach the heavens. It's not an alien. Okay? It's not some little gray guy in a spaceship, right? Man was able to reach the moon. Okay? Do I believe that it's some Death Star spaceship? I don't think so that way. I'm not, inclined to believe that. We don't have any proof of that. It's possible. I don't know. I can't go with that. I talk about what I can prove. Okay. And so from what, the evidence is pointing is that, some scientists say that the moon was created from Earth, right? That a huge asteroid hit Earth and it blew this big chunk of dirt into our orbiting rotation, and it created the moon. That's what the scientists say. The scientists say that the moon came from the Earth from an impact crater. Some scientists say that. All right. So whether that's true or not, your guess is as good as mine. But that's what they say. All right. And is it a spaceship? No, I don't think it is. But why is it that mankind hasn't been back to the moon since? Why isn't it we're building, moon bases up there? What is the deal? How come we're not going up to the moon now? How come we're not making a space station on the moon to get ready to go to Mars or something like that? I think it's because, that mankind has reached the moon before. All right. Now, this information is very sketchy, dude. They're not going to come out and say this. They're not going to tell you this. That man has been able to get on the moon before. I believe this is the reason why man hasn't, been back to the moon. And if they have, at least the United States, they're not going to tell us. All right. So back in 2010, China announces that they're going to launch an orbiter probe. They're going to launch a little rover. Matter of fact, it's there now. It just landed there last year. They announced in 2010 that they're going to launch a rover up on the moon. And it just so happens that year, the NASA is going to do an experiment where they're going to shoot a rocket missile at the moon, on the dark side of the moon, on the back of the moon, and it's going to hit the moon. And from there, a satellite is going to read the debris from the explosion on the surface of the moon. It's going to shoot debris up into space. And these satellites are going to grab this data and see if there's actually water on the moon. Okay, so why are they hitting the backside of the moon? Right? I think they're doing it because that's where this object was. That's where this spaceship is. All right, it's on the backside of the moon. They've already documented this. They filmed this. They already saw this. They found the evidence, from Apollo 20, and who knows if they've already been up back there and done their investigations. We don't know this. They're not going to tell us, but because China is going up there with their rovers now, and they're going to investigate the moon. All right, they don't want this information to get known, because that some of these other countries, if they find evidence of life on other planets, if they find evidence that man has been to the moon before, their government isn't going to be as quiet as our government. Their government is going to tell us, hey, yeah, man has reached there before. This is completely new history of mankind. They don't want that to happen. So what do? They launched a missile. They blew it up, all right, on the backside of the moon. And, so other countries, won't figure this out. Research it. Research all the stuff that's been going on. You know, and it's interesting too, because I remember when they did that, and from my recollection of all this, you know, after they hit that missile with the moon, you know how the moon moves in the sky? The moon is never in the same place twice. You know, that's what the Indians say. You know, the moon never sleeps in the same position, you know, each night because the moon, you know, moves. Well, that moon didn't move for 3 nights, man, after they hit that sucker with the missile. That's what I remember. I remember when they hit the moon with the missile, that moon didn't move, dude, for 3 nights. It was still in the sky, you know, so I don't know. It's my opinion with all the evidence I've seen, you know, with the petroglyphs and the ancient carvings and things like that. Yes, it wasn't aliens. Aliens didn't, you know, have the technology to come down. There's no evidence of this. You know, what we can prove is the ancient ones knew how to construct spaceships that were being taught by these entities of the earth and sky. Because these beings, these spirits, these Quetzalcoatl, these fallen angels, if you will, taught these people the secret knowledge of the universe. And they, in return, treated these beings as gods. Okay, this we can verify through the writings, through the scrolls, through the prehistoric photographs, through the prehistoric sculptures, from the evidence of the sacrificing. You know, it talks about, you know, that these people were here one day and gone the next. You know, what happened to them? Okay, things like that. So this is where the evidence is pointing. All right. So these beings taught man how to reach the heavens, how to reach the stars, how to reach the moon. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Find me on Facebook, Jeff WOOLWINE, Petroglyphs in the Sky. Check out my YouTube channel. Make sure you follow and subscribe there. It's very important. Like and share, and let's get this information out. Find me on YouTube, the Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, and check out my website, petroglyphsinthesky.net. And yeah, subscribe and you know, message me. Let me know your stories. You know, you got a UFO, you know, you want me to check out, send it to me. I'd love to see it. You know, you got any petroglyphs that you want me to uncover, to decipher for you, send it to me. I'd love to talk about it on the show. So yeah, make sure you like and subscribe this channel, and you know, I think we're gonna call it a night. And thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. And we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
until the next exciting episode, keep your eyes in the skies. You never know what you might see.